The front panel is elegant in its simplicity. There are only two features. The LCD control panel that has colored icons which will light up and tell you what your machine is doing when it's on. And they'll go out just like this when you're not using it. You'll use these 5 buttons to control the functions of the machine. The top has 2 features as well. This is the drinking water port. Let's take a moment to install the drinking water spout. First, we'll begin by removing the small black rubber cap on the end of the port. We'll remove the flexible stainless steel drinking water spout out of the bag, and you'll notice that one end is threaded. This simply screws into the end of the port. You'll want to make it tight, but not over tighten it. And you'll notice that this can be positioned in any way that's convenient for you. This is the calcium port, where you can add calcium if you choose. In most areas of the country, you'll have plenty of natural calcium already in your tap water, and you won't need to add any more. But in areas where your tap water is pH 6 or lower, you may choose to add calcium, which will help the performance of your machine. The back has a variety of features, and this is a great one. This is the speaker volume control. You can use a small Phillips screwdriver to adjust the volume up, down, or turn it entirely off if you want, whatever your preference. Below is the on-off power switch. Next is the fuse holder, where you can access the fuse. This is the power cord. This is the tap water outlet port, and it's labeled with a red sticker. And finally, on the bottom is the tap water inlet port, which is labeled with a blue sticker. And lastly, I'm tracing with my finger an outline of the filter housing door, where you'll access the filter. We're at the sink now, where we're going to install the diverter to your tap. First, let's examine the contents of the diverter bag. First, and most importantly, you have the diverter. It's got a lever that you'll use to access the water to the machine. Next, you've got 3 different size adapters in case your diverter doesn't screw right onto the end of your tap. 2 spare O-rings, 2 small squeeze clamps that we'll use to put over the ends of the hoses, and finally 2 drywall anchors in case you want to mount your ionizer on the wall. So we'll begin by removing the aerator from the end of your tap, and generally you can do this with your fingers, but if you find that it's too tight, you can loosen it with a pair of pliers or vice grips. Then we'll see if the diverter attaches to the threads at the end of the tap, and in this case you can see that it doesn't. So we'll try the different adapters until we find the one that actually fits. And then we'll screw that in, being careful not to over-tighten it. Finger tight is usually good enough. And then we'll attach the adapter, the diverter, to the adapter. Again, tightening it firmly, but not over tight. If you find that the adapters provided in the kit don't attach to your faucet, and that you have a specialized faucet, you can go to any good hardware store or plumbing supply store and find the proper adapter. If you find that your diverter leaks when you turn the water on to the machine, you can use white Teflon plumber's tape. 2 or 3 wraps around the male threads usually will cure any of the leaks. Now that we have the diverter attached to your tap, we'll install the hoses to your ionizer. We'll start by removing the 2 lengths of hoses out of the bag and the small inline pre-filter. We'll begin by cutting a 4 to 5 inch length of the white hose with a good sharp utility or kitchen knife, the cleaner you make your cut, the less likely you'll have a leak. Next, we'll take the inline pre-filter, and you'll notice there's a black arrow, and this arrow will point in the direction of the water flow and always point towards your ionizer. So we'll take our 4-inch section of white hose that we just cut, and we'll just firmly insert it into the pre-filter with the arrow pointing towards the hose. Next, we'll insert the free end of the hose into the tap water inlet port on the bottom of your ionizer. And again, we just simply do that by firmly pushing in and then giving it a little tug to make sure that it's firmly seated. Next, we'll install the gray acid water outlet hose into the acid water outlet port. And we'll start by taking the small black cap off of the acid water outlet port. A good tip is to soak your gray hose, the end of it, into a cup of warm water for about 20 to 30 seconds. And that'll make installing it over that acid outlet port much easier. In the diverter bag, there were 2 little squeeze clamps. You want to take one of the squeeze clamps after your hose has been soaked and insert it over the end of the gray hose. And the gray hose goes over the acid water outlet port. And that needs to be pushed all the way to the end so that it's firmly seated. And then you simply position the little squeeze clamp, and you may need to use a pair of pliers or vice grips. Position that squeeze clamp right over the outlet port, just like that. Now that you have the hoses installed to the ionizer, the next thing you'll want to consider is the location of your ionizer. Find a spot near the sink that's convenient yet out of the way. Once you locate that spot, the gray hose lays loosely into the sink, and you can trim that to the proper length. The remaining white hose gets installed after we estimate the appropriate length to the diverter and trim the hose appropriately. Once again, you'll want to use a nice sharp utility or kitchen knife and make the cut as clean as possible. Once you've cut your hose, one end of it simply installs into the pre-filter by pushing firmly and then giving it a good tug to make sure it's seated properly. The opposite end gets installed to the diverter. The first thing we'll do is remove the small compression nut on the back side of the diverter opposite your lever, and install the compression nut over the end of the white hose. The white hose then is pushed onto the diverter, make sure it's on there good and firm, and the compression nut is screwed back into the diverter, again making sure that it's firm but not too tight. And finally, you can position the hose so that it's out of the way. Now that we have all the hoses attached and connected, the last thing we'll do in installing your ionizer is to plug it in and power it up. You simply plug it in, and at the back of the ionizer, turn the on-off power switch to the on position. Your ionizer will chime, the lights will light up on the LCD screen momentarily and go out after about 2 seconds. An important note is you'll always want to leave the on-off switch in the on position. Your ionizer will go to sleep between uses and then wake itself up electrically when it senses water flowing into it. If you're away on an extended vacation, you may want to unplug or turn off your ionizer. Now that we have your ionizer installed, let's learn how to use it. First, we'll begin by opening the faucet to a nice flow and flipping the diverter lever to divert water into your machine. You'll notice no water is coming out of the faucet and nothing's exiting the machine. We'll start the machine processing the water by depressing the power button once.
Purified water selected.
You'll hear a voice confirmation telling you what type of water you have selected, and water will begin to exit the machine. It should come on and purified, and let this run out for a few minutes. When your filter is new, there will be dark charcoal gray water come out, and that's the particulate in the water from the filter. This is absolutely normal with carbon filters, so let it run for a couple minutes to clear it up. When you're ready to select alkaline water, you simply depress the alkaline button one time,
Alkaline water selected.
and you'll hear the voice confirmation telling you what water you have selected, in this case alkaline. Now, to move the alkalinity through the different levels, you depress the alkaline button
Alkaline water selected.
until you reach the level that you choose. The level will be indicated by the number on the control panel, and the icons on the backlight of the panel will be indigo blue. To select acidic water, it's the same. You simply depress the acidic button,
Acidic water selected.
and you'll hear the voice confirmation. The icons will light up on the back panel in red, indicating acidic water has been selected, and again the number showing what level. The melody button over here is used to turn the voice confirmation off, and I'll show you that in conjunction with the purified water. We'll depress the melody button, and now I will select purified water, and you won't hear the voice confirmation. With purified water, you'll notice that nothing comes out the acidic tube into the sink, only water out of the alkaline water spout. So let's learn how to test the water with the reagent pH test kit. You'll have three things in your test kit: red reagent drops in a dropper bottle, a pH color chart, which you'll use to compare the colors that you get in your test, and a receptacle. Let's begin by putting 3 drops of the red solution into the receptacle and adding water. On this level of alkalinity, you should get a blue color, and that's what we've got. Now let me select a higher level of alkalinity, rinse the cup out, put 3 drops in again, and now we should get a nice purple color. And that's what we get here. A very important note about the levels of alkalinity. When you first start consuming alkaline water, you're going to want to start at level 1 and give your body 4 to 7 days to adjust. If you feel any discomfort, back the alkalinity level down. After this adjustment period, you can move up to a level 2 and give yourself 4 to 7 days again. After that, and the full adjustment period has been achieved, then you're free to try the higher levels of alkalinity, although most people settle between an 8.5 and a 9.5, and there's no reason to believe that the higher levels produce any more health benefits. When it's time to change or add calcium to your machine, you'll do that through the calcium port. We simply begin by unscrewing the silver cap. It may be tight the first couple times you take it off, so use a butter knife. Just pry it up gently until it lifts out easily. You'll notice there will be a basket inside, and we'll take that one out by just giving it a twist. We'll take the new calcium basket and remove the plastic cap, being careful not to spill the calcium, and insert that into the port by pushing it firmly, and then reinsert the basket into the port, ensuring that you tighten it down all the way. If it's not tight, the water will leak when you're using your machine. When it's time to change your filter, you'll access it through the filter housing door on the back of the machine. You'll begin by sliding the door up and then pulling it out from the edge and removing the housing door. Inside you'll see your old filter. It's a spring-loaded mechanism, so with fingers on the top you depress it down and pull out from the top, and the filter comes out very easily. You'll notice on the bottom there's a gray filter cup. You'll need to take that off, reinstall it into the filter housing. The new filter will come in a plastic bag. Remove the bag. And the little white plastic caps on either end of the filter. Now the filter should go in so that you can read the sticker, and is just the reverse procedure of taking it out. Insert the bottom into the base, and it's spring-loaded, so push down and fit the filter in until it's in nice and snug. This is the reset button, which you'll use when you power the machine up to reset your digital filter life counter. And last, we'll reinstall the filter housing door by lining up the slots on the back, pushing it in and down and into place. An important part of maintaining and protecting your ionizer is to regularly check and clean the small inline pre-filter that we attach to the small 6-inch piece of white hose. If you notice that your water flow has slowed down a lot and it takes you a while to fill up your water glass, it's most likely that this pre-filter is clogged. So let me show you how to clean that. You'll begin by removing the inline pre-filter by releasing it like this. The filter has a rim into which the hose attaches. You push on the rim at the same time pulling the hose out, and it's like that on both ends of the fitting. Then to clean the filter, we simply run it under water from both ends, give it a good shake, look through the filter and make sure there's no particulate still in the filter. If there is, we might blow on the filter. Again from both ends. Re-rinse it to make sure there's nothing left in there. And then reinstall the filter the same way we installed it the first time. We'll begin by pushing the filter with the arrow pointing towards the 6-inch piece of hose and back towards your ionizer onto the 6-inch line, and then doing the same with the long length of white hose and giving them a good tug to make sure that they're properly seated. Again, remember to do this regularly as it will greatly improve your performance. If you ever need to check or change your fuse, you'll do this by accessing the fuse holder on the back of the machine. And the first thing you'll want to do is ensure that your machine is unplugged. Then you'll just unscrew the little black cap and remove the fuse. You may have to tip your machine to get it out. The spare fuse comes in the reagent bag. And you simply insert the new fuse into the fuse holder and thread the black cap back on, making sure that it's tight, but not too tight. There are just a few points I'd like to make in summary. Today we showed you how to do a direct installation to your tap. There are 2 alternate installation methods available. Please refer to your manual to find out more about these other installation methods. Secondly, refer to your manual if you have any other further questions. The manual is an excellent source of information both for troubleshooting, uses of the alkaline and acidic water, and any other information you may need or find useful. Thirdly, master and learn to use the pH reagent test kit. In various areas of the country, we have different types of tap water. Some areas have hard water, which is high in calcium and alkaline mineralization, and some are soft, which are very low in those types of minerals. And this affects the performance of your ionizer dramatically. So learn to use that test kit and calibrate the level of pH that you're drinking. Fourth, remember when you first start drinking alkaline water, to ramp the alkalinity level up slowly. Start at a level 1, stay there for 4 to 7 days to let your body adjust, Then you can move up to a level 2, another adjustment period of 4 to 7 days. And after this adjustment period is complete, then you can experiment with the higher levels of alkalinity. And lastly, remember to protect your investment by changing your filter regularly and cleaning the small inline filter. It removes very easily, and you simply rinse it out under the faucet, just as we showed you in the video. So remember to do that, and you'll ensure many years of long, happy use with your ionizer.